Hey there, guys and gals. Welcome to part 2 of our episode with John Davidson. If you haven't heard part 1 yet, make sure to go back to the first part and give that a listen. As always, make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Now for the rest of the episode.
So right now, while we're recording this podcast, we're still in the middle of COVID, and COVID has changed so many lives. And I'm looking at, you've had so many different career changes.
Almost too many. It's right on that edge.
There was a recent study that just showed, Hayden was talking about being a musician. Well, 60% of all professional musicians in Canada have to make a career change.
Wow.
And is there any advice you can give to, people that are going to have to make this change? They have no other choice.
Yeah. Well, it's challenging for different people in different stages of life.
Mm-hmm.
I think back, I worked at Starbucks when I was in college, and I think Starbucks is open, but if I was just a waiter or something like that, and I didn't have any experience or skills yet, I would really be in a tough spot, right? So for people like that, if you don't have any experience, what I would say is find ways to gain experience during this time. Find ways to develop new skills. Connect with somebody who needs some sort of help from you. I always tell young people, you know more about what you know more than you realize. Because the dirty little secret, especially in gaming and esports, is older business professionals just do not understand the gaming community. Young people talking to you, you don't know how much you know because it's so organic, because it's just you. A really eye-popping moment, which actually encouraged me to switch my major in college from welding to business. The skate shop I used to skate for when I was 18, I always wanted to work there. They'd never hire me because I was a sponsored rider, so it was a conflict of interest. But one day I went in there, they were too busy, and the girls who worked in there, they're like, John, can you go back to the skateboard wall and just help people get skateboards, help them pick out a skateboard? I had no idea before that moment how much I knew about skateboarding products. And skateboards are really intricate. In fact, I'll grab this one behind me here real quick, if this helps at all. This is my ultimate board. Jeremy Ray, I don't know if you can see that, but Jeremy Ray was my idol growing up, and I got this in 2002. But so a skateboard, 7 plies of maple, Canadian maple wood, 7 plies. This board is probably a 7.75 as far as 7.75 inches wide. Like an eighth of an inch on a skateboard makes the biggest difference. The trucks are different alloys of metal. Some are lighter for technical skating. Some are heavier for grinds and pool skating. There's different shapes and mixtures of urethane for wheels, different grip tape based on your preference. And so skateboard is so nuanced with all these products, and I had no idea until I started selling it that I knew it. And it made me fall in love with business, and I went to my college counselor the next day and switched all my classes from welding to business. So that was definitely a fork in the road. But what I would relate that to young people is you know so much about the activities and about the communities that you're a part of that other people don't know. A good friend of mine when I worked at GameStop said, nobody knows your common sense, which I need to remind myself of that all the time because I always tend to think everybody knows what I know. So I have trouble explaining stuff sometimes because I'm thinking everybody's with me, on the foundational part of it or whatever, or seeing the vision. Young people, what you can do is I would encourage you connect with a experienced professional on LinkedIn and just hit them up and say, look, I'm involved in these activities. I'm looking to gain experience to help me get started in my career. Is there any way, are you interested in any of these that would help you from a business perspective to understand the sentiment or the things that we love in this community? And if so, I'd love to have coffee with you, my treat. And then I would love to listen and learn from you, anything you'd like to share. Man, if you do that, that's going to be so beneficial for both parties. And then I would also encourage, professionals, reach out to young people. I have like a handful of college kids that I stay in touch with. I help them with their projects. I give them insights, and they help me stay cool, because they tell me what they love, what they hate, what's cool, what's whack, all those things. So yeah, I think that's something that young people and old people can do. I think the other thing too is understand where the market is shifting, because I do think, I personally believe events will come back much more similarly to what they've been before than a lot of people do. The reason I think that is nobody's respecting the regulations of COVID during the pandemic. So why will they afterwards, right? But I do think there's going to be leaps in experiential marketing, digital marketing. All these brands right now who their only choice is to do digital marketing and have stayed away from it. They're becoming comfortable with it right now as they have to do it. They're getting case studies. They're becoming familiar with the benefits of it. So that's definitely going to take a leap. But, evaluate where everything is going, evaluate your skill set, what you can, provide. And I've been doing this myself too. I've said, hey, how can I come out of coronavirus stronger than I went in? And for me, one of the things that I did is I said, let me get on every single podcast that I can. And here we are. So if you go to my LinkedIn page, I have like all the media and interviews that I've done for coronavirus. And I think I've probably done, probably 15 podcasts. I've done a handful of interviews with shoe companies, done a couple collaborations.
Why shoe companies?
Because I love shoes.
Oh.
Yeah. Shoes are super tied into to skateboarding as well. Your shoe makes a huge difference. But there's two companies I've worked with. Drop Labs is one of them. So Drop Labs is a haptic technology company where you can feel the beat of music or gaming in the shoe of the foot while you're wearing it, while you're playing games or listening to music. Yeah.
You can feel the beat?
Yeah. It's incredible.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I did an interview with them. I'm helping them with kind of their approach into esports and stuff like that, which I love doing. They send me some free shoes. They do an interview on me. We kind of call it even at that point until bigger opportunities come across. And then the other one was with my favorite brand, Alt Apparel. They did a collaboration with DC Shoes. I have a lot of love for DC as a skateboarder. And so I was part of the marketing effort with a shoe review video. And, they sent me some shoes. I put together an edit. They put it out through their marketing channels. So kind of a win-win for both of us, if you will. And then also, launching my own personal brand is what I'm really excited that I did not go into coronavirus with any thought of launching my own brand. And 2 weeks ago, I had no thought of doing this. So to do this, to be encouraged, to have those around me who support me, to see the potential, and then to open my mind to it, and then to get excited myself is something that I'm really excited to start rolling out.
So if you were to take a look at yourself when you were younger, and you can give some advice to your younger self, what would you say?
Oh man, that's a great question, because I feel like I've done so many things that if I knew what the result of it was, I wouldn't have done it. Like if I knew how hard it would have been, I wouldn't have pursued it. I think part of the benefit of what I've done is that I because I'm an optimistic glass half full guy, I've pursued opportunity that I didn't think would be as hard as it was, but then I stuck with it when I was in the midst of the hardship, if that makes sense. So I've benefited as the result of doing those things, but had I known ahead of time, I wouldn't have done it. So it's a hard standpoint from that. I would probably tell myself, what I would tell myself? I would tell my 17-year-old self, hey, when you go to that skateboard contest that you're not skating in very well, and you chose not to ollie the fence, out of the skate park during warm-ups so that you would surprise everybody when you did it in the contest. When you have a hurt ankle and you're approaching that fence and you know you're going too slow, don't try to ollie it anyway, because you will break your back, which happened to me. I broke my back when I was 17. So that was definitely a perspective shift. But maybe it kept me from a professional skateboarding career that would have gone farther and held me back in business. So ultimately, you can have those things that you wish you'd never went through, but life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you respond. So I can't go back and wish these things were different.
Hey there, guys and gals. We've got a special announcement for you. Since Halloween is upon us, we thought we would do a Halloween giveaway. Because Halloween is the official holiday of I Know This Guy. All you have to do is click the link in the podcast description, fill out a short survey, and you'll be entered to win a $50 Amazon gift card to buy all those Halloween snacks for yourself. That's enough of me, and now for the rest of the episode.
Well, you talked a little bit about DLC, Davidson Learning Company. So I want you to talk a little bit about that.
Well, thank you. This is my first time actually talking about it, so I'm still getting the elevator pitch down and everything. But the vibe around DLC, Davidson Learning Company, what I really love to do is I love to help people. There's a variety of ways to do that. I love to help people, whether it's a kind word, where it's helping a friend, move from one apartment to another, whether it's how it takes form in business through the Esports Trade Association is helping our industry improve our business practices to have more sustainable growth, better monetization, but more tournaments, more of what we gamers love. Other ways in business is, helping brands engage with youth in a way that helps them, which drives results, but also through tactics that enhance experiences of communities. And because I love doing those things, and my experience is really in youth marketing with an emphasis in esports, gaming, and skateboarding, I didn't see the opportunity, to be honest with you. Other people around me saw the opportunity, and they said, John, you're really well set up to do this. And so a little coaching, a little confidence building, and I decided to do it. So with Davidson Learning Company, the word learning there is key. Because learnings is what I provide. So I'm providing learnings on youth marketing through content, public speaking, and consulting. And what we do is we add value to communities by enhancing experiences through meaningful brand partnerships that drive results. So I'm going to be creating a bunch of content. I'm going to start my own podcast. I'm going to be talking with agencies, brands, of how they can engage. I'm going to be kind of open for business from the standpoint of speaking. So I've done that a little bit. I've done keynotes, I've done a TED Talk. I speak in a lot of different colleges around the country and things like that. And so I'm excited to turn that a little bit more into a business. And hopefully the things that I've experienced and the insights that I gain along the way can be valuable to other people. And it's something that helps everybody. When I look at the reason I chose the name DLC was, I want to have a focus on youth marketing, but a tie to gaming. And so DLC stands for downloadable content. For people who don't know about gaming, DLC is currency within the game. So like if you're in Fortnite, V-Bucks are DLC. And so I love that tie-in of adding value. When I was trying to develop a name for it, I came back to the word of value, right? Because I want to add value to experiences. I want to add value to audiences who hear me speak. I want to add value to brands who bring me on to help them develop a strategy, right? And I was thinking about the gaming context. I was like, oh, DLC is gaming value. It's gaming currency. And so the slogan for DLC is currency for the game of business, which I'm hyped on. And so the logo, which people will be seeing rolling out too, has an arrow down, the downloading symbol combined with DLC. In fact, I'll pull it up on my phone if you want to see it. First time ever. So this is
pretty cool.
The logo.
I really like that logo.
Thank you. I'm super hyped on it. Had a fellow skateboarder who helped me pull it together, and so it's fun to work with skateboarders. Steve Size, shout out. hire him and for your branding, logo design, pay him lots of money. So yeah, I'm really excited, and I think it's going to be cool. There's something that happens. You referred to being a serial entrepreneur before, and I really don't see myself as that at all. I see myself as driven and ambitious, but I see myself as semi-entrepreneurial. I've never done my own thing by myself before. I've been the number 2 guy. I've earned some experience in leadership with ESTA, Esports Trade Association, but there's a team there, that helps me and I help them. So, but it's pretty cool. I want to encourage people who haven't thought about doing their own thing, definitely consider it, because there's a switch that definitely flips when you're doing your own thing, where all of a sudden it's like, yeah, let's get it. Like, I'm really hyped to get this going. And another thing I realized too, I heard Gary Vaynerchuk say this. He said something about, don't waste time on trying to convince people who don't get it. Because
That's such a good quote.
Right? I mean, how much time are we trying to explain to people who don't get it? And he said, any time you're spending with somebody who doesn't get it is time you could be spending with someone who does get it. And you're making that sale and you're moving forward, right? So bringing that back around, when you think about when you're working in a job, a lot of what you can accomplish is not your decision. You have one boss that you can convince or not, right? Sometimes we have bosses that are awesome, that we're able to convince of all kinds of cool stuff we want to do. Or sometimes you have a boss who doesn't get it, and your only option through your employment is to work for somebody who doesn't get it. And it's terribly frustrating. And I've worked for a number of people who don't get it. But think about this. If working for somebody else, you have one person who either they get it or they don't, right? But if you work for yourself, now you have your choice of the market that's available to you to find the people who get it. And so instead of being funneled, everything that's funneled through whether business priorities from the C-suite or your manager's focus who doesn't have experience that you have, so they don't see, the vision that you have, man, move that all to the side and invest and believe in yourself. And now you have more of an opportunity. I mean, what I'm thinking about is all the cool ideas I've had for just cool stuff I want to do. Now I can do it because I just have to decide to do it. And then I have to manufacture it, whether that's a campaign idea, whether that's a t-shirt, whether that's a hat, whether that's a logo animation, whether that's a talk I want to do or a podcast. I want to have a, theme I want to have an episode on. Like, there's so much freedom and encouragement just to say, whoa, all of a sudden, whatever I want to do, I can do it. And that gets me excited.
And on that point, so many people are afraid of doing it on their own. They may not have done it before. So, how do I do it? Well, work with your passion. All the other stuff, you don't have to be the expert in accounting or the marketer or the branding person, there are experts out there that you can hire on Upwork, FreeUp. You can get good people that can help you as you progress. You don't have to be the expert in everything, but now is the time, to get that, to go out there, find a course, do some reading, and just do it. There's no better time than right now.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I just humbly and transparently am here as not somebody who has it figured out, or I'm not this like super entrepreneurial dude who's like not afraid and going for it. I'm terrified of not being able to make ends meet. Like today I have no revenue, and I talked to a lot of people about this decision, and I thought to myself, I said, I have a window of time. I have a little bit of savings. I have a window of time where I can try. And I don't view this as a either or either. This is not, I have to leave PRG to do this. This is not, I can't work for somebody for a company and do this, or it might be that I just do this full time at some point, right? But I struggle with that a lot too, what you were saying about not knowing how to do everything. There's many things I don't know how to do that I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if somebody brings me on for a consulting contract, like, how am I going to report the results back to them, right? Like, I can figure that out, but today I don't have the tools, I don't have the knowledge. Well, guess what? I have a tremendous network and I have people I can partner with, for those things. And I love to partner with people. I'm a big fan of collaboration. And I'm a big believer that you can do more together than you can apart. And so I would say think about that too. This is an opportunity for everybody to get very entrepreneurial, to understand everybody's sitting at home and everybody doesn't know how to do everything. So if you're an accountant, think about this. If you're an accountant and you have been furloughed and you're not a super entrepreneurial person, accounting isn't like a real B2C thing, but know this, every single person like myself who's out there, who's maybe has expertise in marketing or speaking or whatever, I guarantee you their expertise is not in accounting. So here's kind of an action step for you. Go on LinkedIn. If your expertise is in a supporting role, let's say accounting, what would be some other, let's have a conversation about this. What are some other supporting roles? I'm trying to think.
All right. Well, I'm looking at marketing. You've got, Google advertising, social media.
Right.
If you're doing, let's say you want to get into e-commerce, there's so many other supporting roles. There's people that know how to do an Amazon optimized listing, your photography, your video. Yeah. So there's a lot of different components to make up that, the business as a whole.
Absolutely. That's very well said. So what I'll say is there's not many people who have the willingness or the interest to do public speaking, right? It's like most people are terrified of it, whatever. So let's say, I think by that we can take away, there's a small group of people who are public speakers or public personalities, but they're kind of like put on this platform, right? I think we look at those people and we think those people know how to do everything. And sometimes you know how to talk about something and teach it, even when you don't know how to do it as well, even. So maybe an action step for people who understand marketing, understand SEO, understand how to write contracts, tax firms, all these supporting disciplines. Find people who you look up to on LinkedIn, who are these more public-facing personalities. Connect with them and send them a note about how you can collaborate as an independent contractor. You don't have to, they don't have to hire you on, they pay you on hourly project basis. And you do this, connect with 10 different people and just see what happens. And what you might find out is that you today might be an accountant sitting at home furloughed because your company can't afford to keep you on the payroll. And tomorrow or a week from now or a month from now, you have your own accounting business because you're supporting all these people like myself who have certain skills that are complementary to yours, but their weakness is your strength.
You got me thinking about something, John. Have you ever heard of dynamic equity?
Dynamic equity?
Yeah.
I have not. No.
It's really cool. Somebody brought to my attention. I did some reading on it. There's some books out there, very simple, small books about dynamic equity. And doing what you just said is perfect for this. So dynamic equity is getting a group of people that you have the idea, the person, the entrepreneur with the passion that has the insight on what he wants to or she wants to sell. Then you've got all these other people. What you do is you give them an hourly rate, okay, whatever that would be, and everybody works to build this company, but nobody gets paid, okay? At the end, when the company's launched and everything is out there and you've got a solid company, the company gives an evaluation, and then you pay everybody for the hours based on the time that they put in, and you can create
at a later date.
Yeah, it's a great concept.
we're moving this economy more and more all the time. It's like the gig economy, right? It's like Uber is a great example. But we're getting more and more away from a company, like a big company that employs a bunch of people, and we're going much more towards individual contractors. It's expensive to hire somebody, and it's hard to hire the right person. And you hire the wrong person, you got to do it all over again after, going through all the heartache and the headache and the money to have the wrong person on for a short time. It's so easy for a company to hire you on as an independent contractor because guess what? They don't have to pay your payroll taxes. They don't have to pay your insurance. And also, you don't have to work unless you want to. You know what I mean? Like I might have somebody who wants to give me maybe let's say I had a deal with an agency. This is just an example, but a deal with an agency to connect them with brands, right? And maybe I get a referral or I get a commission. I would be much more required to sell if I was their employee because I would then have a quota or I get fired, right? But if you're an independent contractor, you don't have to do that because it doesn't hurt them when you don't sell. And so that makes it easier for them to take a chance on you. Now, I would urge you to sell. But also if you do that and you develop a number of complementary independent contractor situations, you've now rounded out a number of different avenues where you're the point person, and anybody who connects with you, you can now help them connect in the right way, but you're the filter. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, what we're also seeing in this economy, we're seeing a lot of the middlemen go away because of the internet. And so that would arguably be a middleman thing. But so to avoid that being solely middleman stuff, you need to identify what is the benefit that you add to that in addition to just being a middleman. So for somebody like myself, I would say, okay, I might not have hard skills in, let's say, tracking all the marketing from a campaign. But what I do have skills in is unique insights and building the strategy in a way that connects with the audience you're trying to reach. Now, let me bring in my friend who does the tracking, right? Who now has me as an independent contractor. Oh, guess what? We need videography. We need photography for this campaign. I have friends who do that too, right? And all of a sudden, you're pulling together teams of independent contractors of your network to solve unique challenges. And that's how I kind of see the world and what I'm hoping to work on and establish with DLC.
Yeah, and it's so important to establish a really great network. So many people sort of push that off to the side. They think about the business and sales. It's everything. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this story. I mean, I've been so blessed with the network, and a lot of it had to do with my time at GameStop. I had a fancy title for a big company, and a lot of people wanted money from me. So, seasons of life, leverage, maximize the opportunity, right? So you build a network. Now, obviously, I had to add value to that network to keep them. You can get them, but how do you retain that network, right? The way you retain a network is by consistently adding value so that they are better off connecting with you regularly than if they did not, right? I've really had an eye-opening situation. When I got my job at PRG, it was really just such an amazing thing. And I remember somebody told me, it was actually Jason Lake from Complexity Gaming. We were sitting at a table at the Tempest Awards in Las Vegas, and it was right after I got this job. And he said, dude, how'd you get that job that fast? That's something you have to know somebody to get, And it dawned on me. I said, yes, I did know somebody. In fact, the person who was pitched the role was happy at their current company, and they recommended me. So I got the surefire, the HOV lane to the interview, and I got it. Now, of course, I had to smash the interview and everything, but knowing people, everything comes down to relationships in business. It's for a variety of reasons. One is just knowing, hey, I'm so thankful at the position I'm at with my network. I feel like if I don't know someone, I know the person who does, so that's like a super cool place to be in. But The other thing is you do work with people you know. And I always say this is a big part of business. Most of business comes down to, are you cool to hang out with? Because at a certain level, everybody's talented, right? At a certain level, everybody's got an expertise, they got a skill. But Hayden, if I am locked in a room for a weekend with you because we have to hit a deadline, first of all, hopefully you're funny. That would be a bonus.
I try really hard.
Yeah, good.
So.
Yeah, that's a skill that can be developed too. But you think about if we're stuck together in a room for a weekend, or let's say we're doing a startup and we work in a spare room for a year together, which I've done that with somebody too. How well do you get along with each other? Are you cool when things aren't the best? When things aren't ideal? What if we do a deal together, Hayden, and it's not going the right way, or I'm not receiving the ROI that was promised, or you're not, or whatever? Can we come together with a solution-based conversation, or is one of us just going to yell at the other and we're going to explode, right? Like ultimately, a lot of things come down to, are you cool to hang out with? And then obviously you have to deliver results. If people like to be around you, and you have a servant-minded focus of putting others before yourself, and you're a hard worker, I really think you're unstoppable.
I've been in those situations where you are locked in a room or you're working with somebody over a period of time, and you might have a good relationship. I feel that, people attract to each other with this, for the most part, with the same attitude or personality. But what I've found is you really get to know a person once there's stress, greed, fear. Then you have to sit back and go, okay, this guy's just turned into the most complete jerk on earth. They did this, they screwed you over here. That's something I've seen in business too. I've had incredible business partners, we're great friends today, and then I've had people that, oh my God, I could tell you stories.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, business can tear apart friendships.
Yeah, it can.
And that's sad, but that's reality, I mean,
and you got to move on. That's the resilience, John.
That's right. Yeah, you need to. There's a lot to being able to move on. I'm not great at this. This is something I'm working on too. But just like to let the past be the past. Like whether somebody's hurt you, whether you've hurt somebody, whatever. Like do the work to make it right. But at a certain point, you've paid for it. At a certain point, you're only hurting yourself by holding on to that situation. And even so too, like if somebody's hurt you, I'm a big believer in forgiveness. I've been forgiven for many things. And so I say, how can I be forgiven, not forgive, right? I think one of my favorite quotes on forgiveness is, unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. And so like we have to let go of those things, and sometimes this can be tied to business relationships, which is tough. But, it relates to traditional sports too, to football. One of the things they say that's a great attribute of a quarterback is a short memory. And I hear this all the time. I love watching the NFL, and they say, if you throw an interception and then you get back on the field and then you're able to throw a touchdown, if you're able to leave that interception behind you, if you think about it, did you get fired from a job? Did you have this relationship fall apart? Did you, I don't know, did you lose out on this deal? Did you get furloughed and you have no idea what your next steps are going to be until you watch this podcast and you see all these action steps we're providing? Can you put that behind you and put your best foot forward now or tomorrow, right? That's a tremendous ability to develop that I think we all are better off when we're able to realize you can't do anything about the past. You can do something now and in the future. Have self-awareness about what you've done in the past that you should do differently, and then apply those things, and then just leave it back there and just run ahead. You can't apologize forever.
I know
Hey guys and gals, that concludes part 2 of our interview with John Davidson. We have our first ever 3-part series, so make sure to check in next time for the end of the interview. John was just giving us so much valuable stuff that I decided to keep it in. As always, make sure to subscribe to the podcast. This is also the last call for our Halloween contest. Make sure to click on the link in the description and it'll take you through the rest of the steps. That's enough of me, and I'll see you next time.